Granny and Grandad's house, and eventually troubles of the country, a world away from any troubles at all. I had pulls and horses. I had room to play and freedom to play, and siblings to play with. And horse riding at Valerie's every Friday.
Can't even get up on it. Mary, Mary.
It's always similar to Nana and Grandad in Scotland, to the being wound up, he asked, or bit by bit. It takes a long time, and that's why it doesn't happen often to people who generally, by the time you're real, once you're real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. I suppose you are real, said the rabbit, and then he wished he had not said that, for he thought the Skin Horse might be sensitive, but the Skin Horse only smiled. The boy's uncle made me real, he said. That was a great many years ago. But once you're real, you can't become unreal again. It lasts for always. She gave me shelter, and she gave me so much more. For the first step was the cuddly toy. Then came the living, breathing reality, and the trouble reality brings that isn't always detailed in children's books.
Just open automatic in the way out.
I'll open it up from inside whenever you go. I have video footage of me closing the gate, but it's broken. Hi, Mom! Hello! Oh, yeah. So you had an interesting afternoon? Yeah, the horses got it. In the garden?
I mean, I've had 4 of you and you were all different. Because you had Sheltie. And while you liked the other teddy bears, you always had Sheltie, whereas Jamie would have had a different one each night in bed. I think yours is a different relationship, even than Jamie's. Yeah. It's like anybody that has something from their childhood that they keep. Most people don't keep. They move on to other things. You know, a lot of us don't have things from our childhood that still mean so much to us. Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for the Sheltie books and Sheltie, I don't think I'd have had the thought to get Sprinter. You know, they definitely were connected. And perhaps Sheltie, the toy, would not be the symbol to you that he is now if you hadn't had Sprinter.
Yeah, I don't.
You know.
I think he'd still be my childhood toy and stuff.
But he would be in your room, but he wouldn't be, you need him with you.
Okay, recording. Yeah. And record the whole thing, don't stop it at all.
Susan and I were at the show just up the road, about 2 miles away from here. And I had Peaches. I think she must have had Dandy. And this wee Shetland pony was tied up beside this big horse lorry, which was obviously just there for sale because otherwise people don't take them unless it's that. So, and he was just exactly like Sheltie in terms of colour and, you know, the size. And so I was able to find who owned him, and I said, is he for sale? And he said yes. So we bought him. I just thought you'd love him. He was just like Sheltie. Why wouldn't you love him? You love the stuffed version, so you'd probably love the live version too.
Yeah.
But you were just in awe of this little pony who was just exact. I thought you'd have called him Sheltie.
No, but because he was already called
I know,
Sprinter. Oh my God.
yeah. But he is so.
Here's Susie's phone. Today. I know where I put it.
Gotta.
Way up the field. No point.
You want to come up and see what Dandy's done?
Wow. I can't run that fast. What's Peaches make of it? Hmm?
It's fine. They're all both fine.
What's his name?
Sprinter. It's a miniature Shetland.
A miniature Shetland. Isn't he lovely?
Would you like him?
Yeah.
You sure? Is he what you wanted? Sprinter? Okay.
Not Sheltie.
I always remember when we first got him and he used to sprint when he could move.
His name became a bit ironic later on.
I know it really did. Obviously, I always remember when he used to run about and buck and stuff. And I think we sat on him a couple of times.
We did.
Just lightly, yeah.
Our feet dragging on the
yeah.
ground. It wasn't really.
Yeah, I can remember that at the start. I always remember how he shared the stable with Dandy and how it stank. And his little coat. I just remember his little teeny, like a dog coat. Just all the time. It's more little moments in the back of my mind. You're always like hugging him. I always just remember like watching you like walk up.
If I couldn't find you, if you were upset about something and I couldn't find you, I knew where you were. You were out sitting in the stable with Sprinter.
Really?
Yes.
Like, I remember going out to him a fair wee bit. When I
You
was
would go out
upset.
quite a lot if you were upset about anything. And you would just sit there in the dark with him, cuddling him.
Oh dear.
Wasn't well that long.
No.
Do you remember he had the hip problem first?
The first thing what do I remember? I remember his back knees locking
Yes,
up.
his back knees locked. So that was the first time we'd taken him to Bruce, and that was only about a year after we got him, I think.
Really?
But he did that quite quick operation and he recovered very quickly.
Yeah, because I don't remember after that
No.
his knees locking.
So that sorted that problem out. But he really got lame quite
Quickly.
I'd say when maybe about 3 years in was when he first got lame. And then he was just always lame.
Yeah.
He was every birthday candle wish, every shooting star I pretended to see. I adored Sprinter with everything I had. I struggle now, as my memories are stuck on him being sick, being lame, but still with such a fire in his eyes. I keep him all around me, his belongings, his heart. Mum bought me a necklace in which are the embers of his remains, parts of his mane. I would wear this every day without fail. I didn't believe then that I was hurting him, or myself. I spent a lot of time on, because we had the date down, we knew what date was going to happen, so I spent a lot of time before that out in the stable, just wanted to be with him as much as I could be before I couldn't anymore. It was hard to realise this is actually it. this is the end. And I still haven't really realised it in a way, but it's just so much dread and fear. Complete fear. And just confusion as well, because I couldn't get my head around that idea that he physically couldn't fight anymore. He could emotionally still fight, and he was still emotionally fighting right up to that point, but he just physically couldn't do it. So on the actual day, I was just in this numb, I think is the word. Tears were falling, but I couldn't feel my fingers, couldn't feel my legs, I couldn't feel anything. I was just like, this is it. And then I don't really remember what I was feeling. I just remember seeing it all happen and just crying and then walking away. It was just a very weird day. I don't really know how to explain my emotional state that day, because it was the end of a big chapter in my life. Did Mom ever talk to you about Sprinter being ill?
Sometimes she would talk about how you're so close with him, and how I probably maybe did worry her sometimes. You were so close to him that, you know, he is going downhill, and just to sort of stick together. It's unfortunately just one of these things in life that happens to people, happens to animals, that's yet not curable. We can't do anything about it. So it's very sad, and it's heartbreaking to see it and watch it. Yeah, I think I'm surprised it's taken so long.
Yeah.
I think it's been a big burden that no one should have to carry around. I mean, you really you need to appreciate all the time you had with him. He was a great pony, he had great friends, you loved him, but it's ruining part of what you're getting out of life, and that should never happen.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have wanted that to happen.
No.
Even if he could never have the imagination to think that or say that. You know, you really need to think of it as a happy thing, and we did the best he could for him. He lasted a good long time with it. He had a brilliant life, shared a brilliant stable, was treated amazingly well. You saw him every night, every day, every morning, and I just don't think you need to appreciate it, keep it in your heart, but just let it go, really. I hope you can eventually accept that and move forward with things.
I wanted to see whether my struggles were apparent from the outside, from someone who knew me well but wasn't frequently around me. I visited a family friend who I've known all my life. I used to visit every Friday after school, and I learned to ride at her riding school. Valerie has known me for a very long time, and I knew she would tell me the truth as she saw it.
Tea or coffee or hot chocolate or your tea or coffee
I would love a tea.
or green tea.
Please.
Can I have a tea, please?
Yes, sit down, make yourself at home.
It's the kind of bond I get when you see them. It's excitement. They can get a lot of love from a pony, and joy when they do lots of things with them. Well, he certainly was a dream come true. I mean, that was just amazing. It was. You were so lucky, and you should always, cherish that rather than you had him and he died. You should cherish that you were so lucky to have such a gorgeous pony. Yeah, and everybody, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
It's just making the most of it. Because there'll be worse things coming in your life. Though sometimes I know some people and they're very lucky not to have had any deaths or any tragedies or anything any problems in their life. But yeah, it's time to go forward. Well, this is a nice closure, isn't it? Yeah, this is time to put them all in a big box, put a ribbon around it, and write a nice letter, and have done with it. And get on with it. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's been a good couple of years now.
Yeah, it's more than a couple of years.
5 years.
Yeah, it's a long time. There's more things to get on with than that.
Probably.
Yeah, I've never known anybody so attached to an animal as you. Honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
You never met any other children that were.
Yeah, but not just so that, you know, it took over their lives.
Mm.
I know certainly when my horse died last year, or 2 years ago, it really, really, really broke my heart. But it was a horse, and it died, and I'm an adult, but, you know.
It's not nice moving on.
It is, of course. It's when you accept it and you do it, and then it's next stage. Let's go.
Because most people, when people die, you do remember the good and you forget the bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you do.
I do remember all the good.
Yeah.
I think because he was so sick for so long.
I know.
And he was like my little dream of a Shetland pony.
I know.
So yeah, it was hard.
I mean, he was so young, you know, it wasn't fair. But nevertheless, you know, you do have to sort of, I think, try and go, well, if he'd been with anybody else, a pet pony, most people wouldn't have just tried as much as we did. That's what you really need to do.
Yeah.
Remember the joy that he gave you so that actually you're happy when you think about him.
So I think that feelings are very, very precious. I think they're the most precious thing in the world, and they make everything else have meaning. They'll make you happy. These are not tragic tears. These are not tears of weakness. These are happy tears. These are tears of something that was very beautiful in your life. I think the thing to do is for yourself to emphasize all the positive feelings. The brief years you had this horse, how wonderful, how sweet he was, how lovely he was.
I think that's what I need to do. Just try to remember all the good, because there's so much good. My life doesn't just revolve around the fact Sprinter died, but it's always present no matter what else is going on. I can remember putting the boots on him, I can remember putting the head collar on him. They're still a bit dirty, they're still a bit worn. I still had these things like, he may be in the ground, but he's not away. He's still in my room. He's still here. And in the short term, that physical presence, I think, is quite important. Well, it was for me anyway. And it's the thing that's made me realise I really need to just pack up and move on. Even though that's fucking terrifying. But I need to do it because it's not just unhealthy for me, it's unhealthy for fucking everyone.